Welcome to the Vietnamese Poetry, Literature channel. Today we will listen to the work, Crippled Leg, by author Thach Lam. Let's listen. Life has many bitter and painful jokes that make us suddenly understand the bitter and profound meaning. I will tell the story below to testify to that. I have a friend named Min. He is a flexible, capable and very energetic young man. His family is poor. Because of that poverty, since childhood, Mr. Min has had to endure many hardships and deprivations, not to mention the bullying that poor people in all times have to endure. Therefore, when he grew up, Min had only one goal, to get rich. He often told me, in this life, there is only one power, money. If you have money, you can do anything. I smiled skeptically and replied that it was unlikely, that although money is a precious power, who would dare to criticize it? But it is not the essential purpose in life because money never brings us happiness. Min shrugged his shoulders, thinking I was a vain poet who only knew how to dream and not know about other more practical things. But Mr. Min seems to be haunted by the misfortune. All the work he enthusiastically did failed. The times when he thought he would be successful, thought he would have money in his hands, were the times when he was about to hear the news that his job had failed. That bad luck made him an angry person, and money became more and more the only obsession of his mind, until one day the bad luck grew and made him miserable. That day, while he was walking down the street, he was run over by a car that suddenly left the road and jumped onto the sidewalk. Min only had time to think about that misfortune again, then he was so hurt that he fainted. When he woke up, Min found himself lying on a bed in the hospital. He only vaguely remembered that after the accident, they brought him to the operating table, because at that time he faintly smelled the anesthetic. But then Min fell asleep and didn't know anything else. He gently moved his limbs and realized that his right leg was paralyzed. Suddenly thinking about amputation, Min's forehead sweated and his heart beat strongly. Just then, an onlooker entered the room, holding a bottle of medicine. The question Min wanted to ask this person couldn't come out of his mouth. Min is afraid of the truth, afraid of what has happened, which can never be cured. But I want to know. The spectator put the medicine bottle on the table and said to Min, "Every 2 hours he takes a spoonful. This is a hemostatic drug." Min asked vaguely, "Did I faint for a long time, sir?" When he brought it here, he was unconscious and didn't know anything. Once on the operating table, he woke up a little. But he was immediately drugged. Min nervously licked his dry lips and hesitantly asked, "So, will the surgery take long?" The teacher is not a person who knows psychology. My teacher should have seen Min's eyes light up, and Min's fear appear on his face. My teacher replied, "Only about 10 minutes. One quick saw and you're done." And the teacher flashed his index finger across his left hand, with a very distinct gesture. Min fainted. Min lived terribly depressed days in his hospital bed. Footless. Now that he has lost his leg, what else can he do? Thinking about having to drag his wooden leg like the lame people he often met, Min felt a cold shiver. A disabled person like him can never hope to achieve the goal he has always pursued. What do you expect to have money? It's impossible to hope that my leg will heal like before. Min just wanted to commit suicide. But 4 months later, when he got out of the hospital, Min gradually got used to his fate. He had to endure it with one crippled leg. It was a sad and miserable fate that filled all the hopes and desires of his life. But, is it a blessing or a curse? Min was hopeful again when his lawsuit teacher came to tell him that he could sue the car company for a very large amount of compensation. From then on, he anxiously waited every day for the outcome of the court case. He thought about the money he would have, thought about the power that money would bring to him. I saw him happy again, whistling, and planning to practice the fantasies he had been pursuing for so long. Sure enough, he was sued. The day he received the money, Min invited me to go with him. He fondled the 10,000 silver bills with passion and pleasure. His eyes lit up, but this time out of joy, he held his beloved banknotes tightly to his chest, like hugging a lover. However, while riding the car back home, a sadness came to haunt him. Min was sad, pointed at his wooden trunk, and said, "Wouldn't it be great if I didn't have a crippled leg and got this amount of money?" Then he sighed angrily, his eyes staring straight into the distance as if he were deep in thought. Not long after, I met Min often at entertainment places in the city. Money makes him achieve all his wishes. He used money to compensate for his crippled leg. The power of money made him intoxicated. Wanting to enjoy the same pleasures as others, Min spared no expense. I once advised him to be cautious, but Min seemed angry and replied, "What crime do you say that you don't spend it happily? But why do I keep the money?" He pondered for a moment, then continued, "You don't know, I play to relieve my sadness and forget." I looked at his wooden leg without answering. In fact, in Min's actions, people see a bitterness, a resentment. Perhaps Min cannot forgive the fate that has treated him like that, so he can have money later. When he lost one leg, his debauchery was as intense as a reaction, but as depressing as a suicide. 2 years later, what one could predict has come. After squandering it for 2 years, Mr. Min's $10,000 was left with not a penny left. He returned to the same poverty, to the deprivations of people without money. But his heart was bleeding and wounded, his heart was no longer the same as before. Now his heart is full of bitterness and depression. The boredom after having fun, the bitterness when realizing the change in people's hearts towards those with money and those without money. I went to find Mr. Min in a house in the suburbs. Reviewing old stories, I asked him informally, "But have you forgotten now?" Min was sad, raised his amputated leg to the light, and leisurely answered, "No, it's here, I can't forget it." He said the wound was both physical and mental. At the end of the work, please support me with the like button and subscribe to the channel to listen to more works.